Yes, the
Yep,
floor is
well,
yours.
good to go. Floor is yours.
Perfect. So first of all, I really look forward to this talk. I think the first talk I have ever given on Hitchhiker's Guide to Token Engineering, it was, I think, April or May last year in Metagame. And it was really before we even kicked it off. It was about the idea. Back then it was just the idea that we're going to, we have this knowledge about token engineering only in a few heads, and we need to get this out. We need to make that accessible. And the book seemed just a good idea. And there was no more, intentions to get where we are now. But just to get this book together, a community sourced, crowd-funded book on token engineering, make it, make it public, print it, try out the token model, try out the token model generation, we're writing about it, and so on. And now, after multiple Gitcoin grants, after getting really good community writers to work with me on different chapters, after multiple Gitcoin grants, it's really cool that basically, first of all, we have the opportunity to really make a Web3 book with appropriate, appropriate, how do you call it? The not attestation, but appropriate royalty sharing, and basically, I lost that one word. I will get it. So, anyways. Yes, basically, we are. I'm just hanging on that one word. So sorry. Let me just move over that, and I will get that one word. But what I'm really excited about is not just that we are basically creating great content. We have tried it out, but also this opportunity to really publish a digital book. Have the contributions, attributions, finally, contributor attributions handled in an automated and decentralized way. The ability to even, ditch Amazon for real and have maybe this book ship globally through a decentralized peer-to-peer distribution network. Even that seems possible in the near future. So that's what gets me excited. So I will try and make it short, like around 20 minutes. And then we can either go back to the blueprint, basically the overview chapters, and then talk maybe about the chapters and content a bit more. Or if you like, basically, at the end, how would this Web3 publishing house, how could it look like? Could we have a storefront in Metagame? And then even go further into if we have this, digital publishing network where we have crowdsourced, community funded, contributor attribution, royalty sharing. Could we even basically create this distribution network, not just of self-publishing of a person, but really a network of publishers of this book? And at the end, unleash the token model, and that basically seems to be the free ride. So this is the overview. And I really like to see that finally we're able to say some of the chapters are almost done, like the token model generation with which this whole crazy ride started, and I will give a bit more overview of that in a moment. But also the other chapters like crypto economics patterns and application domains that Vasily is writing currently is pretty cool. It is well sorted about patterns that we see outside, well sorted into value creation pattern and value accrual and distribution patterns, and basically things we've seen in funding through ICOs, but also in DeFi and in all of the Web3 data and compute layer. Basically, what kind of patterns do we see and whether they might be applicable in different domains. Then my personal favorite, that was a surprise, is the epilogue, an interface to moral philosophy for token engineers. That was truly life-changing, and it's a difficult chapter, but thankfully we have Jess, the rainbow warrior there, who is going to help us make it more accessible. But we got that chapter downloaded literally from a polymath, Fabian Bruder, in October, and had some fun with. Now he's lost in, he's MIA somewhere in Bali, but in good health. Good. Then yes, legal engineering chapter. That's a really good one, led by Esener, and yeah, she goes into legal design and basically how we can embed this ethical thinking and legal design from the beginning and not just as an afterthought. Yes, so token model generation. Well, that is the chapter actually that was supposed to be the book, but then all of the other chapters came together because it's not just about creating a token model, but actually really having this token engineering tool belt and making that accessible. So after we can go into token model generation later if you would prefer that. But it's really about after creating this token model, how are we going to actually deploy it onto privacy preserving participatory architectures? What is the SEC DevOps equivalent in token networks? And in general, basically the decentralization of this organization that deploys the system. It's also super important part, but as you see, those are the areas we have not yet started, but I'll be working with Anish and Lawrence on these chapters. Token model generation, as said, it's become huge. We started writing it in May last year, and in end of June we already spun off a course, Ecosystem Value Flows in Token Engineering Academy, and we have now 2 cohorts. Basically, over 40 people have used those templates and canvases and also have improved them. And we are deploying them in 2 case studies, etc. So it's really bringing, design thinking slash systems thinking together in a way that actually helps define this model that we are generating with all of our assumptions in a way that can be put into computer-aided design. And most of you know or have heard of these tools like CAD and Token Spice that helps actually run those scenarios and see what our assumptions imply in dynamics and over multiple runs. And also it's great to have a computer-aided design, because that means you can actually connect this to the deployed real-world system and get the data and basically replace your certainly well-founded assumptions with actual data from the token network that you deployed. All in all, super exciting. And that was basically also after realizing that, every time we share this content, we get feedback that makes it even more valuable. It was that we decided this book definitely has to have its own repository and be public good, be a living book. And the Gitcoin grant that has now come together hopefully will help to fund that. So yes, how does the coordination work of this book? Basically, as said, I started the curation of it, but of course, when we want to scale it, it will become a token curated repository of content. It is crowdfunded. The Gitcoin grant that we have now in its 4th round, feel free to support us there, is going to actually help, keep that repository up to date, maintain it. And when we want to scale, multiple editions, and especially also print, different languages, etc. And if you get the hang of this Web3 publishing, actually it makes definite sense to have a token for hitchhikers, and of course the token would be called TWL, TWL. Anyways, it's community sourced, as I said, and we tried different things, and the people who stuck around are actually the ones who went through the ecosystem value flows course, meaning the content of the chapter 4, and those people are the ones who actually enjoy to contribute, enjoy to learn, and then to share what they have learned. So it's definitely an initial gift economy, because none of us could be actually be taken care of with the Gitcoin grant that we have funded, but none of us is contributing because of that, but because we actually enjoy the curation and bringing together this knowledge into coherent chapters. Again, crowd published and crowd marketed, and we had multiple runs how this could be done, and I will get later to this, but only after we said, okay, we're writing about token engineering, token economies, we say this book can have a token model, and it was just amazing to have gotten the possibility now also with the let me put it that way, creative economy stack that is starting to be usable, that we get the opportunity to go and have a Web3 publishing house. I will get to this in a moment. Just maybe a few updates on basically what we also had to learn. As said, it was super important that we ditch deadlines or that we try to raise so much money that people who don't need that actually sit down and spend their time writing those chapters together. It was more about finding the intrinsic motivation, even for myself. This hunting for insights is what actually gets us to contribute, and to make that basically work better for all of us, It was super helpful to say, okay, we have, we have a newsletter now, and basically chapter leads get to co-own it and share their articles, insights, an interview they might have done. So make sure to subscribe there. A couple of articles are also already in the pipeline. We are organizing an outreach series for each chapter, basically either a webinar, deep dive, just an overview, or also bonfire chats, especially, for example, about the transdisciplinary art of doing science and engineering for these token economies. That's going to be a nice chat. For sure, and as said, we have the content and everything, but all of us, if we get to make time, then we enjoy writing and putting this content together, and aren't the best, PR people. So if you want to join and help us there, you're very much welcome. And it's, again, if you enjoy these topics, you will have your fun as well. Yes, and the last part, basically, that we really get this content. Everyone has their own way of, creating their content, taking notes. I use Mirrorboard. Others use only Google Docs, etc. At the beginning, we tried to standardize that, and that was a catastrophe. So everyone has their own style, has their own content, but we will make sure that we use the Gitcoin grant to actually funnel that content into so-called evergreen nodes and make that a living book in its own repository, which will have a source cred, and the grants will go towards its maintenance. So that is coming soon. If you are a good organizer of GitHub repositories, and if you are into into the content of this book and would like to work with us, that is definitely also a place to get involved. The publishing process. Now that is the fun part, where we have the most news. As that, like, the principle is I do the curation and coordination, and I really, really like it. But once we have it done once, and once we have this pipeline ready that goes into the GitHub repository, and the process is done once, we can scale that, and that can become a token created process, definitely. It will definitely outperform what I can provide as a single person, of course. So this first step is the open sourcing of content and design. As said, there will be this process of wherever the content resides, from the initial community sorcerers, the step of taking that and bringing it into GitHub, the attribution of the authors, co-authors, and contributors, attribution of editors and creators, of designers, and also of developers, will be done in this small community in which we trust each other for the start. But definitely we are creating this process such that it will be automated, and this was really a great surprise and present, a gift. After the second cohort, one of the aspiring token engineers, Tanner, actually came out of the woodworks with Pictosis, which is this NFT system for creators, where basically developers get to design NFT policies of attribution, of royalty sharing, etc., and we can plug this together. So that gave us a whole new confidence, basically, where we said, okay, let's just go Web3 first, and forget the hard copy part. You know, we knew that you know, most of the revenues come from print of books. That is what it is. However, the numbers really stacked, especially if you're doing, you know, applying these token models. You have the ecosystem, and then an actor in that ecosystem is this Web 2.0 siphon of Amazon. You know, if you want to have the freedom not just to publish in KDP, like Kindle, or their direct publishing, then they basically take 70% of the revenues. This is insane. And if you look at the numbers, Amazon has over 70% of market share in ebooks and 64% in print sales. And you know, like, why are we doing all of this? And that's when I saw this picture of Jeff, you know, don't live a life full of regret. You know, if you're going the length of publishing on token engineering and Web3, and go the length to not just publish a book, but make it community source, crowdfunded, that just doesn't make sense. And we said, okay, you know what? At least we have with Pictosis a way to actually create and accrue the value in the digital publication of this much better than we could do it on Lulu or whatever the other self-publishing platforms are. Let's just focus on that and see what happens. And we said no hard copy, you know, whatever funding we get or whatever, you know, whatever funding we get, we wanted to fund Pictosis to be able to run the prototypes. But now, of course, with all of this NFT craze, Pictosis doesn't have a problem with funding. So it looks good that we can get the first prototypes with the first chapters being finished. But then something else happened. And that was really the amazing part. In January, I met with Boson Protocol, and these they are really amazing. They have this game theoretic embedding of you know, trust minimize digital to physical yeah, transfer of value, basically. So anything you want to make float from the metaverse to the universe, that becomes possible with Boson Protocol. They're just starting off, but the protocol is already in place. I had the chance to actually look at their ecosystem value flows as well, and joined as an ecosystem architect, and basically look really forward to the day when we basically have the NFT system of a Hitchhiker's Guide to Token Engineering, and basically can play with this new design space of actually handling all of the royalties and all of the attributions of this digital content that is partially free, or actually it is free. The content in itself is free, but the different formats we can play around with different revenue models, revenue sharing models, etc. on the digital side. And then basically how we can, on top of all of that value creation and value sharing, actually, you know, create a network of publishing bubbles that can pop up anywhere, in any place there is interest on having this special book of token engineering. And and again, I've always felt the connection with metagame, and even the MetaFest basically slogan is like, let's manifest the future. I don't know when we will be able to go for this physical crypto native distribution part, but just to know that it's become a possibility, makes me go wild. And I hope to find people in metagame who are as excited, as we are about these possibilities that we have now. But first of all, right now we're focusing on finishing the content, right? And focusing on the possibilities we have now with this digital Nifty attribution and royalty streams, get the repository together, get the working and collaboration of content creators, developers, and media designers. Of media designers, we don't have much or many. Format creators, that means people who can actually take the content and create webinars, courses. We have experience with doing courses. It works like a charm. Podcast, whatever you can imagine, what you can basically recreate and remix with the content that we have. Yeah, and then basically the crypto native distribution of actually printing the books anywhere and bring them to physical storefronts or directly to readers. That's also a fun part, but it's almost like an afterthought. That's I believe it's just going to happen. And all of these really, really old things in publishing, like ISBNs for the publisher of record, I would love to see a metagame be the publisher of record. It's really just numbers on a ledger. And it just screams for, please replace us. Okay, so basically I have, unfortunately, as always, taken the full time. I wanted to stop 10 minutes earlier so we can actually pick and discuss which topics you might be interested in.
Well, I'm super interested in all of it, and I appreciate you taking the full time. We have Pictosis speaking later in the week, Friday, so that's exciting. Yeah, Friday, I think at 5:30 UTC. Let me double check that. Yeah, 5:30 p.m. UTC. We have them talking. We also have an NFT artist workshop on the 22nd. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. And I personally like the excitement of all this content creation and the movement of publishing forward. I think it's super important to take it back. And
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think there's it's like the universe conspires, and we just go with the flow. I think all of this has been, changed so many times. It feels like now all of the puzzle pieces are actually there.
Yeah, I got some pretty deep goosebumps after you said that. So we're moving in the right direction, probably.
Cool. Okay, I look forward to hearing from anyone interested in this. I'm Soul Sister on the Discord server.
Yeah, check in our MetaFest public page. A lot of people follow up there and ask questions.
Yeah, perfect.
Anyone that needs to join the Discord, go to metafest.metagame.wtf, and you can get to our live stream there, our discourse, and other ways to interact with us.
Sebnem.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Take good care. Have fun.